Hi friends, Amanda here. Thanks for joining me for today's mandatory activity. I'm doing a voiceover today for the Valentine's Day soap that I just finished, which I call Rose to the Occasion. I turned on the camera, got kind of a strange overhead angle, but I thought I'd run you through how I made this soap. Starting off here, this is a beautiful Mica from TKB Trading. I've got a couple of different pictures available. This is green chrome oxide pigment from Brambleberry. And whenever I use an oxide, I like to disperse it first with a little bit of oil. This is apricot kernel oil. And I'm just going to put a little in this pot and toss a little of the green chrome oxide in and give it a nice stir just to get it kind of nice and creamy so it doesn't, your soap doesn't end up with little flakes of color. So you can see it kind of like it's already a little bit chunky in there, and the more you mix it with your light carrier oil, the creamier it'll get. So I just kind of go for it until it's sort of more of a light paste. I don't always do this with my micas because I find that they blend pretty easily into soap batter, but I do like it with oxides and titanium dioxide. Okay, so it's time to grab our oils and lye water solution. I got my containers here. On the right there's my aloe vera juice lye water solution, and in the big container are my oils. Which are olive oil, castor oil, palm oil, coconut oil, and sweet almond oil combined. It's the Royalty Soaps recipe, which I'll link for you guys below. I'm going to add into those oils some of this beautiful soft kale and clay. Coconut milk powder I'm also adding in with the kale and clay. And it makes a beautiful consistency. The kale and clay makes your soap really soft. The coconut milk powder makes your soap really sort of bubbly and smooth. I like the consistency of the batter itself, and I like the consistency of the soap in the bar once it's cured. So I'm just going to take my stick blender here and mix in these additives with the oils really well before I add in my lye water solution. I don't want any of those particles kind of floating around and being chunky, and you can see there's like a blob floating on the top. So I just sort of trap them under my stick blender until everybody's really well incorporated. So I don't see any more blobs. I'm going to go ahead and add in my aloe vera juice lye water solution and pour it down the shaft of my stick blender, just to sort of help prevent unnecessary bubbles. So that's going to go in, and I'm going to pulse that until I get to emulsion. I don't want to overdo it because I am working with a floral fragrance, and those tend to sort of accelerate and heat up on you. So I want to keep this batter as loose as I can while obviously still getting it nice and emulsified and ready to accept pigment and fragrance. And here is the star of the show. This is Rose Petal Gelato fragrance from Candle Science. You can see it's approved here for soap up to 6%. I believe I used it at 5%. But I have issues with floral fragrances. I just don't like a lot of really heavy floral or very perfumey scents. So Rose Petal Gelato is a really nice option because it is creamy. Like it smells a little bit sweet. It's not cloying. I would say it's probably as much jasmine as it is rose. So it's just a really nice, mild floral. I really liked it. So I'm just mixing that in by hand, again, to kind of keep my batter as loose as possible. I don't want to stick blend any more than I have to at this point, especially because I know I'm going to split off for some colors, which we'll do now. And you can see it's still nice and workable. I'll put this one aside for a little bit of white. Put some titanium dioxide in there later. Here's the green chrome oxide we mixed earlier. And I want to make sure I have enough for a little bit of a swirl inside, and also to set aside some for piping leaves on the top at the end of the soap. So I'm going to go ahead and add in this Reflection Mica from TKB Trading. This is the one I showed you earlier in the beginning. TKB makes a lot of cosmetic micas, so they're very sort of finely milled, easy to work with. I am using my stick blender here just to make sure that it's well incorporated, but it's a nice sort of dark, dusty rose color. I didn't want it to be like a super pink. And I say that just as I open the super pink. This is watermelon mica. But I'm not going to use a ton of it, and this is more of the accent color. I also think it's a little bit dark here, so I'm adding a little titanium dioxide to just brighten it up a little bit. And again, you can see this is a fairly small portion of my batter, but I wanted to make sure I had enough for swirl accents on the inside and some of the roses on the top to get piped on at the end. And then finally, put some titanium dioxide in this tiny little pitcher. I'm just going to mix that up by hand. I pre-dispersed my titanium dioxide in water, and so it's already pretty easy to use, nice and loose. Green chrome oxide, since we pre-dispersed that, and the apricot kernel oil is also blending in really nicely. And this pot is obviously too small to stick a stick blender in anyway. I could use a milk frother or something small, but I really don't think it's necessary. I'm able to pull up the pigment from the bottom of the container with my popsicle stick. This is the tall, skinny, triple wide mold from Workshop Heritage, which I love. I'm just giving my batter another little stir. You can see it's getting pretty thick, so I know I need to work fast here. And yeah, I obviously have sped this up for you, but in real life it gets a little stressful when your soap starts to get this thick. Giving it a little jiggle, and I take it away and smack it down on another table, because every time I smacked it on this one, my camera acted like it was going to fall over, so that seemed like a bad plan. I'm going to take my hanger tool and just swirl it through the soap and try to get some nice designs through the inside. Since the soap batter is a little bit thick, I gave it a couple sort of extra swirls, and it's going to need another smack down too, just to kind of get everything settled in there before we finish pouring the soap and then starting on the piping. Got my piping bag ready to go. I just put my, this is one of the reusable ones, I'm putting my open star tip in the end. I don't use a coupler here because I'm not going to change the tip at any point, and I find that it's easier to get the tip out to clean it if it doesn't have a coupler, so every time I can avoid a coupler I do. This is 24 karat gold mica, also from TKB Trading. I just wanted to put a little bit of sparkle on the top when I'm piping these roses. So all I'm really doing here is mixing it with a little bit of carrier oil, and I'm going to take this popsicle stick and smear it along the inside of the bag. I'm kind of making like little random stripes. So when I put my soap batter into the piping bag, as it squeezes out the soap, it's going to sort of drag some of this gold mica out with it. And I don't need to work quickly any longer here, because I want this soap batter to thicken up enough to pipe. So the stressful part's over. The bulk of the loose soap is in the mold, and so really this is just the soap I need to thicken up enough to pipe. And I'm going to put it in this bag, sort of alternating, just so that when it's piping out the flowers, they're not, one sort of dusty rose, one pinker rose. I want them to be sort of a little bit more varied than that. So this will get, all of those colors at once together, and then with some of that gold mica mixed in as the soap gets piped out. And here we go. So it's just that one color at the beginning, and as it gets going, you'll start to see some of that variety. And here we go. There's sort of the pink is mixed in, and I'm going to go back and get some of the pink next to some of the dusty rose colors. And I'm adding a little bit of more pink mica. Just doing a little sprinkle with a tea strainer on the top. I decided that wasn't quite enough sparkle, so I grabbed some of this beautiful glitter This is biodegradable eco glitter from the Fizz Fairy. And I'm just going to do a little sprinkle of that. I mean, look at how pretty that is. Like a disco dust. I just have a little tiny micro scoop, and I'm just doing a gentle sprinkle of this all across the top of the soap. Okay, now it's time to work on getting our piping bag full for the leaves. This is just a leaf tip, and I'm using a plastic bag here because my other bag is obviously dirty with the pink batter. So scooping in the green, it's a little bit looser than the pink was. And we'll go in and just pipe some little leaves sort of randomly on top of the soap design. And you'll see me, I'm going to go back here after I get these leaves piped in. I sort of run my finger across the top of the soap, trying to determine sort of where the bars are going to get cut. And I want to make sure that every bar has, you know, at least 1 or 2 leaves in it. So, you know, I go back and sort of just double check that everybody's going to have some green. Spritz it with some rubbing alcohol. Here's a little close-up for you. You can see all the sprinkle of the biodegradable eco glitter and the sprinkle of the mica. I just think it turned out really lovely. And now we get to cover her up. Let her sleep well for the night and hope in the morning that she still looks pretty, and she does. You know, my goal for this soap was to make something that was sort of pretty and feminine, but that wasn't, you know, super pink. And I think this ended up being just a really nice combo. It's, you know, the colors are muted and deep, and, you know, the fragrance, the rose petal gelato fragrance is, you know, it's creamy. It's not grandma roses at all. It is, really gentle, sort of milky. I mean, the jasmine obviously helps because jasmine gets kind of musky, but it just turned out really nicely. It lathers really soft from all that kaolin clay. It's got a nice bubble, so I was really, really pleased with how it turned out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that was enjoyable. This was a wonderful soap to make and kind of a fun, you know, Valentine's Day sort of project that I really enjoyed. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.